Hey everyone, it's Adriana and welcome back to another video. This is the labs reflection video for week 1 of systems programming. Since systems programming has 9 labs total, and each week I'm doing either 2 or even 3 labs per week. These lab reflection videos will now cover 2 or 3 labs. Now for week 1 had 2 labs, labs 1 and 2. Lab 1 was on bit manipulation, and lab 2 was on pointers. For lab 1, I had to use what I learned about bit manipulation and the use of bitwise operators to manipulate the bits in the lab and to get them to show up as ints. Some of the concepts that was covered this week that helped with this lab was having to use I believe they're called operators and or XOR, left shift, right shift, and negate. And then from there they went over having to apply bit flags and bit mask. I didn't really use that, but it was gone over this week. And one of the rules for this lab was that we couldn't use bit set to show the bits in the lab. Instead, we had to use the operators of like and or and all that to show the bits. But we could use bit set to just make sure that the bits actually work and show up. But I kind of found that a bit confusing and kind of an oxymoron, so I ended up not even using bit set at all, because if you did use bit set you would get points taken off, and I try not to get any points taken off. Now for lab 2 is about pointers and having to practice using pointers by creating and also updating a car program while having to utilize the pointers and also updating the memory in the program as well. This lab was split into 3 programs, but it was overall just one big program, 3 separate parts, with program 3 is what they call it. But that one I had to put in 4 separate parts added to it. I had to use arrays, loops. I had to use the enumerators again. That was done back in programming 1. I had to use those again to define variables named make, model, year, mileage, and color for the cars. And then from there, the main outcome of this lab was to basically ask the user the questions to put in what make, model, year, and how many mileage, and as well as the color of the car that they want to see. And then the program would output 3 cars with 3 different years, colors, mates, models with mileage, and so on. Next up, lab demos. For lab 1, as you can see, I had to print the bit field. For that, you can either set it to 0 or you can set it to a random number. So I set it to 25, and then you also had to print the bits out, and exactly how the bits were shown in the instructions is how I printed out the bits on my lab demo. And then for each of the menu options, for 1, turn on, 2, turn off, 3, toggle, 4, negate, and then 5 and 6 for left shift, right shift, did all that, and then that was lab 1. On the other hand, with lab 2, I had to print out the values as well as the memory addresses for each of the values. And then as far as the user input, I had to ask the user the questions: what is their make, model, year, and mileage of the car, and it had to be asked 3 times. So I inputted 3 different cars with various mileages and years for every single time. Now with this lab was mostly right, except with the output. Each one had a 0 in them. I wasn't sure how to fix that. And then for the first one, for car 1 did not output the chosen color. And then number 2 was actually the only one that outputted everything. If it wasn't because of that additional 0, that would have been perfectly fine. And then number 3 was also fine as well, minus the 0. And that's it for the lab demos. I'm happy with my grades. It didn't take very long. The first lab, it only took until Tuesday, and then Wednesday for lab 2 didn't take very long. But overall, I'm happy with the grades. 100 for the first lab, a 93 for the second lab. Not bad at all. Now though, this will be the end of this reflection video. I will see you guys in the next recap video for week 2 of systems programming, and then eventually the week 2 labs reflection video. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good day. Bye.